When you don't take time to look at it through other people's eyes. Take some time and reflect on what you believe in your soul. Cause that is the key to life. You gotta let the negativity go.
Hello and welcome to What the Fox podcast with your two hosts, Lindsay Fox and Amber Ross. Today we have got a very special guest with us, Rowland MJ M. King M. Avent. Listen, this man's got so many different names. I really don't know which name people are going to remember him by or know him by, but you are going to know exactly who he is by the time we are done with today's episode. But before we get started, just a reminder that today's episode is sponsored by therapyappointment.com. So if you are looking for a therapist near you, do not forget to go to therapyappointment.com so that you can make an appointment with someone who can offer you professional support. And then for those who might be seeking support that is not therapy, this episode is also sponsored by my coaching business, which is conscioushealers.com. Feel free to book your free discovery call today by going to conscioushealers.com. So without further ado, welcome MJ. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Blessed to be here, man. Yeah.
Really happy to have you here. And you are a man of many talents and have all kinds of stuff to bring for us today. So while we are, right around Father's Day, this episode is not going to be solely focused on Father's Day. We got a lot happening.
Sure. Yeah.
So who the heck is MJ?
My real name is Rowland Max Avent Jr. Give it to me by my father, man. Most people know me as either MJ or M. And in the artist world, music and art, my artist name is King M. And most people know me throughout different points of my life as one of those, but they know them all. I'm the same person all around. I'm from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, the 252, in case anybody ever want to know that. I live in Julian, North Carolina now, so right outside of Greensboro. I've been here for a while. Gardening, farming, doing music and art, but also, real life jobbing it as well. Just trying to keep one foot in front of the other.
Spinning all the plates. I love it.
Yeah. Just trying to keep my hands in the realm of creation. So
I like
you
it.
definitely do that very well.
Absolutely.
From growing plants to painting pictures to rapping viral TikToks or all these things.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have to know before we go any further down the trail, and we started to get into this before we actually hit record. So I made the conversation pause. But Lindsay and MJ, how do y'all know each other? Because this history goes back more than just like the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. So we were at UNCG at the same time at one point in time in my lives. It was 2007, probably.
Oh, you don't have to date us, MJ. Come on, man. We don't put dates out there.
Hey, why not, man? Hey, look. As somebody once told me, man, the only thing worse than getting old is not getting old.
It's true.
So
that's a good perspective.
Hey, look, I take it. You feel me? I've been around for a little while, so I want to keep being around.
It's true. And honestly, so I think I met MJ, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I met you your freshman year in college over in Greensboro.
Mm-hmm. My only year. Yes, continue.
Oh my God, y'all. I didn't actually know that was his only year.
I can't.
I was around.
Oh, you were around.
I did see you around.
I was right. We'll get into that. We'll get into that while I was around. But yes, my official only year.
I met MJ because if I remember correctly, I was his RA in the dorm rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Okay. Weren't you on my floor? Maybe you don't. I don't know.
Yes. I was on the seventh.
Y'all were
I was
crazy.
On the 7th floor. Yeah. No.
Fourth, third. I don't even remember.
You were below us. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Listen, let me just tell you about the people in this dorm where my job was to help, make sure people kept on the straight and narrow, or at least if they weren't getting caught. Let me tell you, the people up in that dorm, I will never forget. I'm sorry, I got to bring this. I got to bring in the story. I have to.
I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it.
While I do not recall every individual that was there, you had to have been there and a part of this. And I'm sorry, but I got to spit it out.
Maybe. I
Do
don't
you
know.
remember when
Hold on, wait. What's the statute of limitations?
you're not guilty?
Oh, okay, all right. Proceed.
I'm gonna
Proceed.
tell one of the most outrageous situations that ever happened in that dorm room was when I came home one night from doing my own thing, aka, yes, in college people drink underage. Is that a secret? No.
What? I had
My
no
whole
idea.
rule of thumb as an RA was listen, if I don't
Oh,
see it, if I don't smell it, it doesn't exist. Just stay safe. Here are condoms. Here's a safe space. Here's what you need. Just be
sure.
kind to one another. That's all I care about, y'all. And let me tell you, the people in this dorm could not follow those rules. They could not follow these rules. I came home from my own night out one night, right? And I'm supposed to be responsible and not drinking under the influence. I'd be drinking underage. And here it is. I come back to the dorm and my freaking hall has thrown a damn keg party.
Oh my God.
They somehow got these huge kegs up the elevator in a dorm room and like
Oh my
somehow
gosh.
got these kegs into their own dorm room by dragging them through the hallway. They had all these desks set up to play beer pong. You had the girls having a full-blown lingerie party, walking around in lingerie. The men are over there having beer pong. I'm like, oh my God. What am I gonna do?
Honestly, it's stories like this that I regret not having an on-campus college experience. Like,
Yeah.
They apparently got 1 year. And it was a good one.
Man, I can either confirm or deny my involvement or my actions if I was there or not. I can either confirm or deny. But yeah, man, that I jam packed enough for a lifetime in 1 year, man, of fun and friendships. So that's like the crazy thing is just like experiences, and friendships. And I have people like one of my best friend, and my best man, was my roommate in college that year. You know what I'm saying? So like
oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
it is a lot. Like that 1 year, I made it count. The rest of them I was around, I was chilling, and we were doing music.
Listen, you're a pretty popular guy.
Somewhat, man. Somewhat.
He was popular. So it was just, I got to tell you, my memory of that 1 year was such a riot because I had the coolest people, the coolest residents. Y'all were all great people. But my God, people just said, fuck it, whenever it came to following any sense of rules. And I'm just like, you guys, let's not.
Sorry, can I just pause for a minute? Are you surprised? Because if you liked them and you thought they were cool people and they actually followed the rules, those three things don't go together.
No.
Fake
But
news, guys.
this is, and I like, what's crazy how like things like build up over time and you can see certain characteristics in people.
Mhm.
Like Lindsay's professionalism is top notch. Like you could recognize it then, but you didn't really appreciate it then because you could tell she wanted to be with us and like hang out with us. But because she respected her job so much and what she was doing, she severed that tie. She didn't muddy those waters. You know what I'm saying? Which was really cool. Even though she was like, I want to come by.
She's like, look at me setting a boundary, even in college.
Right. And so, you know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
We can see that. But yeah,
That's cool that you even remember that because it's so true. I had to walk such a fine line because I remembered in my freshman year, my RA used to party all the time with the residents and she ended up getting fired. It was a whole thing. And I'm like, I'm not following those footsteps. I'm not doing that. And it really was. It was tough. It was tough. So thank you for acknowledging that because I do take my jobs very seriously. But I also believe, play hard, work hard, but play hard too. That's important.
Yeah. There's a good balance there. Yeah. Not at the same time.
That part.
So let's dig in, right? Like we heard a little bit about you. Obviously, you have all the plates spinning. You do all the things. For sure. I took a little tour through your social media accounts, and I have to say, you put some amazing content out there. Your artwork is incredible. Your music is amazing.
Thank you.
It was definitely a good start to my day as I was jamming out with you this morning.
I love that.
But Thank it's you. Like you're welcome. The theme that I keep getting from you is this like theme of reinvention and of honoring yourself and your needs and like holding space for how that changes throughout life. Yeah. And I'd love to talk with you because one of the things you called out in your forum, your Q&A that you submitted was that you never saw yourself as an artist. And yet, as soon as I pulled up your social media accounts, that's the only thing I see. I mean, from music to actual like physical artwork, you are an artist.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get here?
So I did music for a while. I've done music for a long time, and I thought that was my avenue of it. But I was always very particular about how people labeled me. People ask, what do you do? What do you do? And when you say you're a rapper, it gives off a certain notion, or what I'm saying, people have their own premise of what a rapper is, and so it leads them down a certain way. But when you say you're a poet, then it leads them a certain way. But when you're at the crux of all of those things, it's really hard to describe. And so I just kind of left it general, and I used to just say that I'm an artist. That's how I would like to be described. And my form of art specifically was music. And I never really did art until later on in life, which was like a couple years ago, but just really within the last year. When my mindset shifted about it, and it was just breaking it down. So like my problem was I would see something really cool, and then like I would want to do that, but I would try to do the whole thing. And then once I started to break it apart and go, okay, if I draw this line here, if I draw this line here, if I draw this loop, and this thing connects to this, then all of a sudden I can build it out. And then that led me to one of my issues that I knew about for the longest was patience. So patience is something I struggle with. But so, and then I just started kind of fiddling around with stuff, and then, doing a little woodwork, doing a little painting here, doing this, and then fluid. I just kind of went into fluid artwork, and it was just like, oh, I like this. And I was like, I can do this. There's a space for my skill set of not being extremely particular about things, but being able to appreciate whatever comes out of it. And fluid art is a good space for that, because as you do the artwork and it dries and it moves, it changes from a lot from its initial conception. And a lot of other artists are very specific about what they want. So if it doesn't come out like that, then it's like,
then it's trash.
It's trash. But me, I'll just slap something up there sometimes.
I mean,
this metaphor.
And then it comes, you feel me?
Mic drop, just complete mic drop. From the moment you said, I like this and I can do this. Like,
yeah.
So often we separate those to say, yeah, I like this thing, but I can't do it. Or I can do this thing, but I don't like it. Finding your passion and where those overlap is just incredible.
Yes.
It is.
And also just your conceptualization of this. I want to tie this back to just the metaphor of how it connects to humans and how we show up as humans. Because I'm hearing you say originally, watching how this piece of art evolves over time. Boy, it starts out as a blank canvas, right? We're a fresh newborn baby. Yeah. And somehow we've got our foundation, your first base coat. And all of a sudden we keep adding more and more layers of friendships, bullshit, trauma, good stuff, bad stuff, whatever you want to call it. And all of a sudden you come out with this totally different picture that you never even expected, that becomes who you are and how you identify, how you show up in the world. Yeah. And something that I love about what I have seen you do online and in your content creation, and I hope to see more of it, is the fact that I get to hear you sing and rap while you are actively painting.
Yes.
I love when you do that, because it is like you are in your full flow, your full life purpose, and you are just totally leaning into everything, and you can just feel your energy with that. And I think it is so beautiful to watch it unfold and to have you share it with others.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody who's not watching on YouTube right now, end whatever recording you're listening to, pop over to YouTube, because if you could see the blush that is on MJ's face right now and just the full facial expression of that, it's, it can be uncomfortable sometimes to hear that kind of like positive feedback that's just so heartwarming. But I mean, it speaks to the fact that your art and all of your art really lands with your target audience, right? And the stuff that you're creating is being appreciated in the world. And that's just beautiful.
Yeah, man, appreciation is it's a crazy thing, man. You just put something out there without, you want it to be appreciated, but then, when people exceed any level of expectation you have of their appreciation, it's crazy. So when you say like you enjoy seeing me do that so much, that's why I was smiling. So it's like I really enjoy doing that so much. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. Because like those are those are the times in my life I feel like really fulfilled.
I
There
can
are other
tell. I
roles.
see it.
Yeah, there are
The
other times
energy.
when I'm really fulfilled and like it looks different, but
Mhm.
those times when I'm just able to like sing and paint and just like do different stuff like that, it's just like there's a level of fulfillment of purpose, and it's just like, oh yeah, like
I
Mhm.
have to
that.
ask you, like one
Yeah.
parent to another, right? Because we're humans, we're parents, we're, all the things, all the labels. When you
Mhm.
find something that really fills your cup like this, and obviously Lindsay and I can totally pick up on the fact that you are in your zen when you're putting those things together. Do
Yeah.
your kids get to see that? What does that look like for them? Because, we have a heavy role as a parent to show them, hey, your needs matter, your
Mhm.
desires matter, the things you enjoy matter. How does that translate? I think you have younger kids, but still, it matters.
Yeah, so they're luckily all of my hobbies or my art and the things that I do, they have kind of access to within reason.
Right.
Um, so so when I'm playing my guitar, like some days I'll just sit on the floor and I'll play my guitar, and they'll grab their musical instruments and play, and like we'll sing and we'll jam. Oren, which is my oldest, he is 4, he'll be 5 in November, but he plants stuff in the garden with me. When it's time to harvest stuff, I give him his own little thing, and he comes out there, I show him how to harvest it, clipping off okra, when to pick tomatoes and when not to. Um,
Amazing.
and he's done some, I mean, he does his own painting, and we've done some projects together with little boxes. And he does some of this painting that I do in here, but I kind of keep it away from him because he'll just be just
They go wild. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, he'll go crazy. But and Ryland's not really, Ryland just turned 1 yesterday. So he doesn't really get to see the art aspect of it. But he hears all the music though. He'll just be in there with me.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
And
Well,
a
happy
big part.
birthday.
Yes.
I
Happy
tell him you
birthday
said
to
it. I tell him you said it.
Yes. I think another big part of this is twofold in terms of parenting and having a life outside of parenting. There's
For sure.
that one component, which is huge, is balance. What the hell does balance look like in the context of parenthood so that you can still, number two, uh, retain and maintain your most authentic self as a person, as a human outside
Mm,
of parenthood, and even take it a step further. Number three, when you are doing you and you're being true to yourself, you are then role modeling to your children. This is who I am, and it is important to stay true to who I am. And I do prioritize who I am outside of you.
yeah.
It's a heavy load we bear, man. It's
I
and
seriously commend the hell out of you guys because I mean, while I work with families in a very different context, um, I am not a parent, but I see how much of a labor of love parenthood is. And so, truly, how do you find that balance as a father to, you know, have both and?
It's it's
yes.
it's it's always shifting. So there's time when it is and the time when it ain't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I realize that there's times when, it gets hectic and housework, as admit I don't do as much housework as I probably should a lot of times, but I can tell that stuff's starting to pick up, so I won't paint as much.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's swim lessons and there's gymnastics and there's a doctor's appointment and there's all these other things in real life work, and it's just like, all right, now you got to do that. But it really helped me once I got away from balance being like this fixated point. And I thought balance was just like, okay, there's 50% of this, then there's 50% of this now. but it's not like that. And it's
Nope.
like balances 80, 20, 60, 40, 90, 10. And it's like, but you're going to keep it there, and it's always moving. So sometimes I'm able to get in here and I'm able to paint a lot, and I make the most of that time. And I say, yo, okay, cool. I'm gonna paint a lot right now. And then I won't be able to paint, but that doesn't mean I can't be doing stuff. And so as that stuff dries, then I'm taking my stuff and, spending time with them, but then I'm online with it, taking time to, put it in my Etsy shop, or write a story behind it, or let it dry, or, move into a different aspect where I can do it. If I can't get in here to paint and I'm in charge of watching them, then I can be playing the guitar with them. And I can be, so it's forever moving,
MJ, you summarized that in a way that I have been trying to do since we started this podcast. You won't know this, but in a very early episode, Lindsay and I had a debate on balance and what it looks like, and tension, and what that feels like. It was a whole thing, and I was so aggravated with myself because I couldn't summarize what I was trying to explain. And you just did it in like 5 seconds, because balance in parenting is chaos.
Yes.
And it's fluid, and it changes, where my idea of balance before becoming a parent is consistent. There is nothing consistent other than change.
Right. Yep. And that's
Changes,
that balance between control and flow.
Yes. Precisely.
Yes, you have to go with the flow. Kids are the ultimate form of challenging you to get comfortable with flow.
Yes. So, and another part of that balance is knowing my skill set and knowing my partner's skill, my wife.
Yes.
Knowing her skill set. My wife is extremely organized. And she's a efficient maximizer. So she can do stuff in a timely manner, in which I have no concept of time like that, but she does. So she can put something on the stove, know that this is going to be 7 minutes, knows that it takes 3 minutes to go upstairs, get this, come back down, knows to go to do this. And she can fit all of these things in there. But, if Ryland's not poking at her leg, it'll throw her off, and she'll just, because she's so meticulous about things. But me, I could be writing a work email, bouncing in here, checking on the painting, doing a new song, head out to the garden, carry on a conversation, doing this, but my mind moves like that. And so
I feel that.
You so just explained mine and Lindsay's partnership very, very well.
I was going to say, your wife is Amber and I am you.
Yeah.
There is the balance that's needed also, right? That yin and yang within friendships, within partnerships. It's that yin and yang of, there's going to be one person that's an artist, and there's going to be another person who keeps the artist on track and really knows the time management and the sequencing of things. And it is
for sure.
I pull Amber out of her comfort zone, and she keeps me disciplined, even if I don't want to be sometimes.
Even if you don't want to be. It's needed sometimes.
I feel that. So you mentioned something previously about speaking your art into existence, and something I have seen about you is that things have shifted. Your as we as humans, right, as we evolve, as we were talking about, even you have evolved within your artistry, and more specifically your music. I love that you're getting really back into your flow of music. You want to talk to us about your latest hit and why
first
people
and foremost,
should be diving into this?
How did you not know I do music for so long?
Wait, y'all, you gotta add a look.
Wait a minute, we need context. I speak for the people when I say we need context.
Let me tell you. So I put out a song. My latest single that I put out is "Still King,"
which is so good, you guys.
Thank you. It's available on all streaming platforms. It's on Spotify and on iTunes. Still King, King Dot. It's also on Bandcamp. But I put it out a month or two ago, and I think that was Lindsay's and I sent it. I was sending out, doing my rounds, doing my artistry, sending it to people. Lindsay was like, "This is really good. I didn't know you do music as well." And I'm just like,
he's like, where the hell
have you been?
Like, girl, I've been doing music forever. Was I not promoting enough for the last 10 years?
I'm like, I guess not, because we've been friends online and following each other forever. So I'm like, nope, had no idea. Nope.
Okay, to be fair, the last 10 years of Lindsay's life has been a little bit like this. So we're going to have to give a little grace.
Very true, very true, very true. But once she found it, she was just like, I did not know you do. I
I
did
was
not
like,
know
holy
that
shit, you are
did this.
really good. I cannot believe this stuff has not popped off and like skyrocketed at this point. I mean,
Thank you.
y'all have got to listen to this song. And honestly, like, if you wanna give a
You
live
could sing, you could
performance,
rap, you could do a
if you want to
performance,
give
you
us a
could
little taste, you're
a little
welcome to.
poetry.
What I say on Steel King, man? What would I do if I captured your ears for a moment? This got that change your life vibe to it, don't it? And if this king proceeds to drop gems on your head, this could conceivably be my crowning moment. And I'm on it. Because life is too precious. Never take it for granted. That's something that I've grown to be mindful of. And pressure bust pipes and make diamonds, and here I am dropping gems that should tell you what my mind full of.
Hey, that was wonderful. Oh my gosh.
I knew you were gonna do all that.
I like full body chills over here. That was good.
It's because he needs to be doing this. This is his calling.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you for
man.
sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Seriously,
Now I'm
y'all
like,
need to listen
where
to
is
this
my
song.
Spotify when I need it, right? Like,
Yes, you need to hear the whole thing together. It is
Yeah, man.
so on point, and it just blew me away that he just like threw this down, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know that you rapped.
Yeah,
Lindsay's
man.
like, wait, I'm here and I'm loving it.
And you know what? Timing is everything, man. Because, if people came around and weren't able to appreciate it at that time, and now that they are, it's just like, it's even that much better.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're killing it. I'm so proud of you for totally leaning into it, coming back to your roots. Speaking of gardening, like you really are coming back to your roots in such a big way, which is funny enough. That is what I remembered so much about you is like, yeah, having a guitar out in your gardening or playing the guitar in the garden.
Yeah, that's fun. I love going out there and singing and playing a little bit out there in the garden. It's really cool. It's a neat little space.
That's awesome. I love that you shared that with us. Thank you so much. I'm still sitting over here like basking in the glory that was.
Good, man. That
was good.
That's what it's for.
But I wanted to, obviously we've been chatting for a while. We've gone down, a fair amount of foxholes and shared about parenting and about gardening and art. And you see, I mean, listen, I trademarked that one.
I hear you dropping bars.
But if there's one big thing or one big takeaway that you want our listeners to get out of this episode and from hearing from you and your story, what would that be?
There's so much left to say about his story, though.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, do you want? I don't know. I don't know if I can answer that yet.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Like
so
we
where
have
are we
to
going
keep
next?
digging a little bit. I think we got to keep digging a little bit.
Let's go. What's next, then?
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, something I know about your story, which we haven't even touched on, is the fact that you had, and I say this because, again, I know we're talking about not aging ourselves, but listen, MJ, you're like in your early 30s, right?
I'm 34. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So for a 34-year-old, you have already had a hip replacement. And I know this seems so random to bring up, but this was a double hip replacement that you had done at what age?
At 30. Yeah.
Y'all hearing that? 30 years old. So you want to talk about being 30 years old and your body betraying you and the impact that has on you and your functioning. And then where art comes out to be a support on the other side. That's the missing piece of this story I feel like we need to highlight real fast.
Let's go. Yeah.
So, man, that was a really scary time. I was 30 years old. It was 2019, and throughout the year, my body, which I would later learn, it was a vascular necrosis. And so, I just turned 30. My birthday is March 27th. So early 2019, I started feeling pain in my hips, but I'm thinking it's just because I turned 30. I just need to stretch more. I need to drink more water.
Normal.
Go to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
Chiropractor. So I went and I got my own gripes about that. I don't know if we had time to talk about her. But anyway, it didn't help after a lot of sessions and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it just continued to deteriorate until late 2019. The breaking point was I went to the beach out in Wilmington. My wife is from Burke also. We go to, they used to live in Wilmington, or near Wilmington. So we went to the beach and, I'm just thinking, all right, this is it for me for walking. Like, this might be the last time I go to the beach on 2 feet. It got to that point where I really couldn't walk no more. And then, so like I was out in the water. I just remember clearly, being out in the water and I could feel my bones just breaking. And then, so like the day after that, I just couldn't walk. And then, by the time we got back to Greensboro, I reached out to the orthopedic person and watch how fast this happens. By the time I get back, I schedule an appointment with the orthopedic person. They run my x-rays. This was like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. They run my x-rays and it looks crazy. And so they call me back Saturday for MRI to look back at it. Told me to come back in on Monday. And that Monday, when I saw the orthopedic surgeon, he said, by the end of this conversation, I just need to know one thing. And he was like, I'll explain everything later. He was just like, do you want to do one at a time or do you want to do both at a time? And I was just like, wow. And so what ended up happening was a vascular necrosis is when a part of your body is not getting the proper blood flow. And so what happened was, for whatever reason, we don't know specifically, but my hips weren't getting enough blood. And so my bones had crumbled away. And well, the part, especially in between. So my bone was walking on the bone and just breaking away at each other. And so
brutally painful.
It's crazy. And so early September, I went in for my first one, which was the right one. So I did a total hip replacement. 6 weeks later, I went in for the left one. And
6 weeks later.
6 weeks later. Usually they don't do them that far apart. That close together. But because I was so young, they said that it would probably be best to go ahead and get out of the way. And for me, in 2019, my son was going to be 1 that November. So, he was starting to walk. He was starting to be active.
Yeah.
I had just got married in 2017. So I'm still fresh in marriage, super fresh in being a parent. And so it was just like, that.
Knock it out.
Yeah, that load was all there together. And it was just like, all right, I got to go ahead and get back on my feet, literally.
Of course, because you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on the beautiful beginnings of marriage and your child walking. And I remember distinctly watching your journey. So y'all, MJ documented this journey online. So just to bring this full circle a bit, whenever he's talking about music, for me, I'm like, I remember his double hip replacement. I remember that being such a profound moment in his life where I was just like, I cannot even begin to fathom what this must be like to be so young getting a double hip replacement, because you never, ever hear about this. This is something we hear about our parents or grandparents going through. Yeah. Not us,
Yeah, that's, we always have this air of expectancy with life. Is just kind of like we assume, stuff's gonna happen to us, but over a course of time, we're gonna get old and stuff is gonna happen. Then you just don't blindsided at 30, a new parent, new husband, needing double hip replacement, so you can't walk, and it's just like it's an extremely scary feeling. It's crazy, and that whole process. I won't, go too much into it because, the body remembers, but it's painful and exhausting. Yeah. Like it feels like even in that recovery process, it feels like everything you do, it feels like you're trying to lift a washing machine up. So like getting out of bed, it feels like you're trying to lift a washing machine up and get up, sitting down to use the bathroom, getting up lifting your leg up to step into the shower. All
Things
of
we
it.
take for granted every single day.
Yeah, man. And so if you see me now and it's just like, wow, MJ is just so grateful for life. And it's
High
just
on
like,
life, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's because I valued every step. You know what I'm saying? Like
Literally every step.
put one, and you hear me say it over and over. You put one foot in front of the other, and
That's
pretty
right.
soon you're walking across the floor. That's why I you know what I'm saying? I love that. If anybody knows where that's from, shouts out to y'all. If you don't know where it's from, you need to look it
Sounds
up.
very familiar. I'm gonna have to get on the Google later and figure that one out.
You put one foot in front of the other.
Oh my gosh.
And pretty soon you're walking across the floor.
I
Well,
got
I
you
mean,
now.
even as I hear you talk
Good.
about this, it really did bring me back. I mean, that you just saying that was bringing me back to my own personal memories of when I discovered I have, well, I have chronic Lyme disease, by the way. So I've never actually disclosed that on this podcast because it never really felt relevant. But the whole reason that I found out that I had Lyme disease is because I woke up in like a form of paralysis. Like I couldn't actually get out of my bed. My joints and my body were hurting so badly that I could not move. And likewise, how you're comparing it to like lifting a part of your body feels like a washing machine. I could not stand up or sit up or walk without someone physically carrying me or picking me up. It was awful. And I can, that resonates deeply to think about, to recall. And even that to your point, right? Your body remembers, your body keeps a score. And to remember how, mentally, psychologically, and physically that betrayal felt of my body. Of you know, it like, why aren't you, we're too young to be going through this, why is this happening to me? And you know, as I even kind of observe you, MJ, I know this was a really incredibly painful time in your life, and without staying in that dark space, I just want to take a moment to inquire, you know, where was art in all of this for you? And did it help kind of shift the gears for you or move you out of that space? And whenever, you know, now with the blessing of hindsight, what role did that play in your life?
It played absolutely nothing.
Really?
Music and art just almost, I don't want to say dissipated, but it was just like, I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
I can't, I don't have the space for it. But it's all, you know, a portion of that allowed me to get there pretty quickly was that my father always says that opportunity and the seldom in life does opportunity and desire run hand in hand. There'll be plenty of times when you have the desire to do something in life, but you won't have the opportunity. And vice versa. You'll have lots of opportunities to do something, but you don't have the desire.
So
And it's when he is, man. I love my pops. And so like when, you know, I've always lived like that, in which I had the opportunity to do music and I had the desire to do it almost, you know, so I definitely had the desire and I was seeking the opportunities. So I went all out. I did everything I could possibly do with music at that time. I wasn't an artist as far as the art then, but everything I could do with music, I did. I did koozies, I did shirts, I did hats. I performed all over. I went to NACA. I went to these different schools, festivals, performing outside. I had my website, my business card, everything you could possibly do, I did it. And my whole point with music was to be fulfilled by it and do as much as I could with it. And at that point in time, I hit that wall. So I did what I came to do. And it was just like, I don't necessarily have any itches or regrets with trying to seek it out in this time. I was cool with it. And I was like, now it's time to do this. And when you have those times in your life where something is all you can focus on,
All
and
consuming.
it's all consuming. And it's just like, you know, I keep saying one foot in front of the other, and you realize how much it takes to do these things when when you stand up. You can't just change plans and just go back over here and do this, because it takes everything to get from point A to point B. It's like, I have to focus on making it to the bed. I have to focus on putting this foot down and not flopping over. And it's just like, that's what,
It's
you know.
debilitating in every
Yeah.
single way possible. It's debilitating in every single way possible.
It is. And it's,
So
and you know, and I feel you on that where you feel betrayed. Like I say, I was a new husband. I was a new father. And I was just like, this, you say the words, you know, in sickness and in health, but do you really like mean it?
yeah, you didn't know you're gonna be tested that early on in your
Got
marriage.
tested right away.
Tested right away. Not even just a cold for a couple of weeks. I'm talking full double hip surgery. Do you
And
mean
being a
it?
new mom, being a new mom
Yeah.
and dad, and in
Yeah.
sickness and in health.
And
I mean,
that's, you know, that's the bargain. It's just like, you know, I'm not we never went into a relationship as a provider and somebody to be provided for. We were partners.
of course,
And then,
caregivers, right? You don't
right.
anticipate
A team.
being,
We're a
yes.
team, and it hurts when you know,
Yep.
when you look up and you can't, it's just like, I can't do this. I can't help you right now.
Yeah.
It
It's
messes
a
with
dark
you.
space. It's a dark space. And I honestly really want to say thank you for just even taking a moment to normalize that. These are the
Yeah.
pieces of the storytelling in this podcast that I think are so valuable because we don't talk about these moments enough. And people need to understand you're not alone in these moments. Other people have been through these lived experiences. And, you know,
Yeah.
here we've got MJ here today to show you he's on the other side of it. But for people who are listening, who are actively in it, you know, there might be those moments where you're like, you know, the things that once brought me joy or pleasure, they're no longer there for me in this moment of time, in the space of my life. And MJ, I've been there too. And you are not alone with your experience. And I do know that there is light at the end of that dark tunnel. And
Sure.
it's brutal when you're in it, when you're in the thick of it, because it's like you can't see anything but the darkness. And it can be a really scary place to be if you allow yourself to sit there too long. And so ultimately, it sounds like through your recovery journey and quite literally being able to take one step, one day at a time, which, you know, ODAT for people who are familiar with like AA and Al-Anon, and that whole 12 steps world, ODAT, that one day at a time is really something that I personally live by and try to use as a mindfulness mantra.
Sure.
How did you get to the other side? What kind of helped pull you out of it ultimately? Was it the ability to walk again, or was there more to it? Because like for some, for example, right, a weight loss journey, just because you lose the weight doesn't mean the negative thoughts stop after you lose all the weight.
Nope.
Yeah. So, all right. So what the answer, I'll give you the work, but I'll give you the answer. So I said it when we first started talking, is the art of creation. That was my answer. The work was how I got there, of course, but just continuing to create things. So I went through, I never stopped creating, and I was cool with that. And once I realized I was cool with that, then that space that I held for music, the art of creation that I thought was my purpose, was in music. It was under music. But once music came out of it, then I was like, oh, this is what was holding it up. It's the art of creation. And so then it became, I started making donuts. I went through a period where I was like making donuts. And I was so happy. I'm not kidding.
I love that.
Look, I want to
Yo,
eat a donut of yours any day of the week.
Hey, I want to get back to making them. I found other creation, but you know what I'm
need
saying?
a little mobile truck. You need a little mobile truck where it's like you got MJ's donuts while he's out there playing his guitar with all of his paintings for sale.
Perfect.
I'll do it all, man. But that's what it was. But once I started doing that, and I was like, yo, I don't know why, but I feel really fulfilled making donuts. And then I kind of was like, all right, cool. I'm moving into something else. And then I started doing little things with wood. And I was just like, yo, I feel really fulfilled doing this thing. I was just like, what is it? And then it was just, I was like, oh man, gardening, starting to garden. I felt really fulfilled with that. Bird watching. And then it became painting. And I was just like, this is what it was. It just ended up being my purpose in life is the art of creation. And so whatever facet that looks like, if it be knitting in the future, then I'm gonna be knitting. Like I'm gonna get, like I'm just gonna continue to keep creating because
That's
that's
right. Well, that is you are a true artist. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're a true artist. That's what you have to reinvent and go with the flow and evolve and adapt and overcome. That's what art is all about.
Yeah, that's what it
I
is.
love it.
Fluidity.
Seasons change and you're changing with them. And I mean, that's, we've talked
Yeah.
about it here before, right, Lindsay? And it's the word that we don't say anymore, but it's, I think it's the R word.
Resiliency.
Resiliency. You knew exactly what I was talking about and I couldn't even come up with
Why are we?
it. That's the word. No, resiliency. And it can take on a negative connotation. It can take on that dark space, but honestly, being resilient and being able to go with the flow and honor what you need in that time. I'll say, yeah, I'm a creator, I'm an artist, but it can take whatever shape it needs to take that
Yeah.
makes my cup get filled. And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
like that's the message. We
Yeah.
found it.
There you go.
There's the big takeaway.
Look, you got to do the work first. You just don't get an answer, man. You got that work. It'll lead. It'll take you there.
That's
Listen,
right.
I'm really impatient too. Just
Yeah.
As you can tell, you said.
yeah,
I know.
he's like, I got that.
Amber's like, wait, I needed to know the takeaway.
I want to
ASAP.
know. Well, listen,
know.
I can guarantee you at least part of our audience was also like, yes, we want to know.
Probably. I don't know, man.
Well, that's just the human experience, right? We want to
Yep.
rush the journey because we want to see what's at the destination, and then we lose
Yep.
sight of the fact that the journey is the destination.
It's a good reminder every day.
Yeah, yeah, it just pans out. But honestly, MJ, I'm so glad that you came on today. And I know that we just like, this is like a drop in a bucket. This is just like, we just like barely scratched the surface. But it's okay. We'll have you back another time. I have no doubt about that.
I'll come back.
We might dig a little bit deeper next time. So
Oh Lord, I don't know. Where
It's like, I don't know.
Where you going, man? Nah.
An
It's
incredible
cool.
discussion. Thank you for being vulnerable with us. Thank you for opening up and giving us an opportunity to,
Seriously.
have a platform where you could share your story and normalize some things that don't often get talked about. So appreciate that.
Thank y'all for the space, man. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And, for holding this kind of space for people to come up here and talk and just having this as an avenue for people, like me and just other people, just to be able to talk about their experiences breaking societal norms.
Yeah,
That's what
just
we're here for.
humanizing the fact that we all have our shit, and and that's just it. It's that the social media gives us a highlight reel, and
It
there's
does.
so much more that goes on behind the scenes that I think is so important to highlight. And speaking of social media, you want to drop your information real fast so our listeners can follow you on TikTok and
Oh, for sure. Yeah, man.
well, wherever. I think TikTok is probably your jam, but wherever your platforms are, where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram at King M Dot, which is just altogether KingMdot. I am on TikTok as KingM.com. So KingMdotCom. If you have any more trouble finding me, KingM.com is my website. I'm also Googleable. So
Googleable.
Well, we can add all this in the show notes too.
if you
sure.
Google King M Dot or
All
MJ,
right.
I'll
Yeah,
come
and
up.
apparently that's how most, normal people figure out that you're a rapper and an artist and stuff. And, I guess if you're friends with someone for like 15 years on Facebook and you don't know, you can always just Google him and find out.
Hey, you make it up for it. Lindsay's like my unofficial life coach right now. So my free trial is gonna expire soon.
free
I know,
trial.
so my free
She
trial
is the very
expiring.
best. Listen, you better
She-
sign up when that free trial expires, friend, because she is the best.
Listen, I'm counting my pennies, man, because I gotta make a good offer. She
Make
is
the investment.
she is good advice, and she does it so lovingly, which is like that's why I really appreciate her spirit. You feel me? So
Well, thank
Big
you,
facts,
guys.
big
I didn't realize this was
Oh my God, Lindsay's gonna start crying, y'all.
Hey, I appreciate the love as well.
yeah, man.
The art of creation also comes with learning the art of receiving. So thank you for allowing me
Very
to
true.
receive this space and to be in this environment with you guys. This was really beautiful. And thank you for just humanizing pieces of just being a man who happens to be willing to be vulnerable at the same time. So for all of the fathers that are listening, we wish you a very happy Father's Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And understand that you are not alone in your journey. Men do have a very heavy weight to bear that a lot of people do not talk about. And it's so important to know that you are not alone in your journey. There's a lot of other men out there going through it too, and have been there or have found themselves on the other side. So all that being said, you guys don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We really are trying hard to start using that platform more. So it would be very great. We would be very grateful if you choose to subscribe. And if you listen to the podcast itself on Spotify, Apple, wherever, please give us a review. Every time you leave a review, it actually helps boost What the Fox to new listeners. And we appreciate our listeners. So until next time, you all have a
See you
nice
next
weekend.
Tuesday. Bye, guys.
Thank you, family.
And we all sing, everything is gonna be just fine. It's gonna fall into place. The sun is gonna set on your terrible day.